Good morning, it's Anand here from Osho, Ireland, and today I'm going to share the 54th technique from the Osho Book of Secrets. So the instructions are, wherever satisfaction is found, in whatever act, actualize this. So I'm holding my phone and the book in both hands, so excuse me while I bend to turn the page. What Osho says about this, and there's a reason why I'm doing this and I'll explain in a minute. You feel thirsty, so you drink water. A subtle satisfaction is attained. And he goes on to say, forget the water, forget the thirst, remain with the subtle satisfaction. But he goes on to say that the human mind is mischievous and that in general we focus on the negative and we see that, the dissatisfaction, the discontent, that we kind of see the more misery and the hell as opposed to the heaven. And he shares with us that the hell or the heaven that we feel is our own interpretation of how things are. A Buddha or somebody who is enlightened will feel bliss where the rest of us might feel misery. And I've had my own experience and I'm going to share that in a minute with you. So today's not so much a meditation, but a remembering. These are self-remembering techniques. So just to say something that Osho says, and then I'm going to switch the camera to my garden and I'll explain in a minute. He says distractions are felt, miseries are felt, pains are felt. Whenever you suffer, you become the suffering. That is why the whole life becomes a hell. You have never felt the positive, you have always felt the negative. Life is not such a misery as we have made it. Misery is just our interpretation. So he invites us, and I invite you. I'm just going to put the book down, so we'll bend down again, and then I'll switch the camera. He invites us for 24 hours a day, for one day, to see positives, whether it's the sun, whether it's the birds, a garden, something beautiful, somebody smiling at you. And for me, about 7, 8 years ago, I was in very deep depression. I only ever saw the misery. I was in hell, in my own mental hell. But something in me said, logically, life is not 100% miserable. It just can't be. So logically I went, okay, I feel miserable, my life feels hell. To be honest, I was on antidepressants and I felt suicidal. But something inside of me said, this isn't the reality. And what I decided, or what came up for me, this quiet voice came up for me and said, write down at least one nice thing that happens a day. And I have a big vase, it's a big long glass vase or whatever. And I had these pink stick-it notes and I wrote down on the pink stick-it note, somebody smiled, or the sun was out. And because I started to notice these beautiful things happening, I started to see them more. So I'd have 1 stick-it note, 2 stick-it notes, 10 stick-it notes, 20 stick-it notes in a day, to the point that I couldn't keep up with how many nice things were happening in the day, and it transformed everything in my life. I realized then that life is not misery, that things come and go and they happen, and that we are surrounded by this entire beauty. And from that, I saw the positive more and more and more, and then it accumulates. And Osho talks about this. When you see negativity, it accumulates, but when you see beauty or positive or taking satisfaction and enjoyment in anything that you do, it keeps on growing and you see it everywhere. So I thought I'm going to flip the camera around because I wanted to show you my garden and share with you my satisfaction in this beautiful little wild space that I've had the privilege and the luck to be able to have here, to take great joy and pleasure in this space. So I'm just going to quietly now, I'm going to shut up and quietly walk us through this garden and share in this. What this garden teaches me is that there's so much abundance, but equally there's also a dying away. And looking at this every day, it just fills me with a deep satisfaction, and I just wanted to share it with you. It wasn't what I had originally intended to share for today's meditation, but it's what came up. And you can see in this garden, it's May time here. It's a lot of rain and a bit of sun here in Ireland, if you're not from Ireland. But the amount of abundance is unreal. And that's what life is. It's full of abundance. But there's also death too. So there's a letting it go, there's a dying away. And all of this vegetation that you're seeing here is going to die away. And it will be reborn. So we die, we're reborn in different forms, and it's how we make of it when we're here that counts. So you can focus on the misery, or I invite you to get your own jar or bucket or bowl, and you can use stick-it notes or stones or anything as a marker, and notice nice things that happen in the day or when you feel satisfaction, whether it's in your work or your day-to-day life, with a loved one, in a shop. It doesn't matter, in nature. And just mark it and look at it, and there's the physical evidence that shows you that there is so much positive stuff in life. And I don't mean the clappy, happy, positive. I mean a quiet abundance, a quiet plenitude that's just there, that we don't even see until we notice it. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll be back next Sunday at 11 a.m. for the 55th meditation.